warm welcome to the FIM Enduro World Championship and the Maxis Grand Prix of Greece. The impressive beauty of the towering rocks of Meteora and the monasteries perched on the top provides a stunning backdrop to this Grand Prix. Geologists, botanists, wildlife enthusiasts, photographers and artists are all drawn to this scenic part of Greece. It's not just for off-road specialists. Let's get underway with the story of the season so far, beginning with Enduro 3, and it's Spain's Ivan Cervantes who is dominating the class with 4 wins out of 4. The Enduro 1 category has also been about one man, Christophe Navetin of France, who is yet to be beaten in this campaign. The final main class looks like being a 4-way fight for the crown, with Frenchman Antoine Mayo just about leading the way. The Maxis Grand Prix of Greece will be fought over 2 days, each consisting of 4 laps and taking in extreme, cross and enduro tests. It looks like being a tough weekend, a view endorsed by E3 title challenger and KTM rider Matthew Phillips.
Yes, great location here in Greece. It's been a really good week here. We had, our first opportunity. We had a look around, a bit of a tourist trip, as well as lots of walking this week in the mountains. The terrain is quite difficult to walk, but to ride is really spectacular, and really look forward to the race.
It's the KTM pairing of Ivan Cervantes and Matthew Phillips, the top 2 riders in the Enduro 3 Championship respectively, who get things underway. It was Phillips who took an early lead with Fabien Planet in a surprise second place with Cervantes in third. However, the Australian crashed in the second extreme test, which cost him the lead.
Yeah, the day started off really well. First lap was good, nice and clean, but really difficult conditions being the first riders. Then in the extreme test I had a really bad test. Some of the fans were moving the stones and arrived and made one crash, and again another crash, and so really disappointed that that's how I've lost the time, but hopefully we can get the message through, and the next lap it's the same as we left it.
Luis Correa lost around 20 seconds courtesy of 2 crashes, one on the first cross test, followed by another in the same place on the last lap. The Portuguese rider was pushing the beater hard for a podium placing, but eventually had to settle for 4th. Matthew Phillips had found himself down in 4th place following his 3 crashes in the extreme test. Thanks to the speed of the KTM, the Aussie would fight back to eventually end the day in 3rd. Matthias Bellino found himself going too fast on the opening lap as he came downhill, and as a result lost a lot of time when he got the bike stuck in a creek. The Frenchman was not as fast as he'd have liked in extreme, but he made up a lot of time in the cross and enduro test to take 2nd overall. It looked like a case of deja vu for Ivan Cervantes. The E3 series leader got faster as the day went on, and despite a small crash on the last enduro test, the Spaniard continued his unbeaten start to the season. It seems he has a philosophy of starting each event steady on the first lap, and then it's a policy of all-out attack. The final leaderboard with a familiar look about it, with Bellino, Phillips and Cervantes filling the podium once again.
I make the first lap, very concentrate also, not make mistakes, and I see the ground, study the ground, study my teammate Matthew and Sistola. So today I make big mistakes, and after the second lap I make maximum attack for the victory. It's my 5th victory in the long of this year, and I'm very happy.
In Enduro 1, Christophe Navetin once more set the fastest times from the off and was the early leader. The Frenchman going into service as class leader, while Hiro Remez was also going well.
In here it's quite easy also make mistakes, so I think I need to just stay to try to get my own rhythm and just keep going and look how it is.
Cristobal Guerrero is joint second in the Enduro 1 standings going into this Grand Prix. But he struggled in the first half, crashing on both the first 2 Enduro tests plus the first cross test, losing a mammoth 40 seconds or so in the process. Following service, there was a huge improvement with good times for the Spanish rider, despite not being too happy with the terrain, and he would eventually claim 4th. Anthony Boissiere was looking for more speed than he managed in Greece, and he later admitted he wasn't feeling too good with the Sherco. Yet despite 2 small spills, he would end proceedings in 3rd place, but in somewhat unusual circumstances. It looked like being a straightforward Enduro World Championship round for TM rider Eero Ramez. The Finn looked strong in all 3 tests, but the real drama was to come at the end of the day when he was unable to change the tyre and mousse in time before returning the bike to Parc Fermé. A quick check of the rule book meant Ramez would have to start day 2 with no tyre on the rim. He wasn't too keen on this outcome, and so instead of settling for 3rd, he decided to retire, scoring no points and moving everyone behind 1 place up the final order. Jeremy Theroux didn't enjoy the best start to the day, but he quickened his pace on lap 2, and from there was no stopping him. Excelling in both the extreme and cross tests, he pushed hard all the way to the end and was rewarded with the runner-up spot. All hail Christophe Nambertin. There was no stopping the Frenchman as he blitzed his way through the day and would end this round with a very comfortable margin of victory. But the day doesn't end there. Each rider in all classes has a limited amount of time in which to change tyres and mousse before the bikes are taken to Parc Fermé, where they will remain overnight. An exhausting end to an exhausting day. No Ramez on the leaderboard, with the podium being made up of Boissiere, Theroux and Nambertin to make it an 1-2-3 for France.
New victory, it's important for our championship. My speed was okay. I know this morning was very important the first lap to make a big difference directly. So I think tomorrow it's important to be all the time in first position.
Antoine Mio began the day as series leader, but he was soon in trouble, as amazingly he suffered 3 crashes in the cross test plus 1 in extreme, which saw him plummet down the leaderboard. Back at KTM, some modifications were being made to Mio's radiator guard. This was certainly a risk, especially as it would leave his bike exposed to flying stones, but the KTM team felt something needed to be done to help the Frenchman, who was undoubtedly struggling.
Today it's a bad day. I crashed 3 times and lose a lot of seconds in stage. So anyway, we try to fix the bike again and I start to push. So I win some stage, but it's very difficult today to make a gap. So I try to stay focused and we see.
Johnny Aubert had been the early leader and looked quick throughout the morning. That changed when he lost a heap of time when he crashed on the 3rd cross test and slipped down the leaderboard. Like a number of riders, he struggled to find a good line and was prepared to take risks, eventually finishing just outside the podium in 4th. Alex Salvini had 2 small crashes and also lost time when he stalled on the 2nd extreme test. The Italian's fitness continues to improve. No more painkilling injections for the Honda man, who was hoping to be back to full fitness for the forthcoming Scandinavian rounds of the series. He ended this one in 3rd. Following his earlier disappointments, Antoine Mio was prepared to push almost beyond the limit, and the tactic paid off as he clawed back a huge amount of time, eventually ending the day as runner-up, just 2 seconds short of victory. The ultra-competitive nature of Enduro 2 means that mistakes can quite often be the difference between winning and losing. A small crash on the last Enduro test saw Pelle René fall back time-wise towards the charging Mio, but it wouldn't prove too costly as the Husqvarna rider prevailed to take the win. Enduro 2 proving to be the closest sport of all 3 major classes, and Mio almost pulling off a major result, having struggled early on.
close all the day. At the beginning it was with Alex and Johnny. Antoine made some mistake at the beginning, so he was a little bit far. And after I come back on the two leader, but also Antoine come back behind. I make also some mistakes, so we are four guys for the win, and every day it's a big fight.
I tried to push until the last stage, but anyway, it was too late. It was a very bad day, and finish second, I think it's like a victory for me today, because I was very far away and I come back very hard on the two last laps, so I'm very happy and I hope better tomorrow.
And that brings proceedings to a close on day one at the Max's Grand Prix of Greece. Hello and welcome to the FIM Enduro World Championship and the Max's Grand Prix of Greece. It's another blazingly hot day here at Kalampaka for what promises to be a scorching few hours of competition. So far we've been concentrating on the stars of today, but who will be the stars of tomorrow? Here are four youngsters we may just be hearing a lot more of in future.
My name is Albin Nilsson. I come from Sweden and I'm racing for Bell Ray Husqvarna Factory Racing Team.
Hi, my name is Miroir Jérémy. My team in the équipe d'Enduro de l'Armée de Terre, FFM.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Herrera from Chile. I'm 19 years old right now and I race in the Enduro World Championship for the second time.
Hi, I'm Davide Sareca. I'm 18. I ride for Beta Buono Racing Team.
My hero is Kurt Koselli. I like so much Kurt because he rides so good. He do a mix like motocross, enduro rider.
Of course, Joachim Ljunggren was my really hero, and yes, that was him. But now I'm starting to catch him, and I really enjoy it. And I try to push and try to be the best.
My hero is Antoine Meon. His style of ride is amazing.
It's always been a dream to race here in the World Championship, but now I'm here and now to take some really good opportunity of this, so full gas.
The Youth Championship has been hotly contested this season, but one man proved to be unbeatable here in Greece, and that was the Italian Davide Sareca. This is the picture in the Youth Championship, and 2 wins this weekend has Sareca firmly in the driver's seat.
Incredible, a double win here in Greece. It's a good things for the championship. Now we have a little break, and then in Sweden another battle.
In the Junior Championship, day one had been nip and tuck between Championship leader Danny McCanny and fellow challenger Giacomo Redondi, until the Maxman suffered a huge crash on the final extreme test, hurting his elbow, which gifted the win to his rival. Day two saw McCanny struggling way off Redondi's pace, and that meant the Italian made it a double victory for the weekend. In the standings, McCanny still leads the way, but Redondi has closed the gap, and it's game on for the title as far as these two are concerned.
Today I started very good the first 2 laps. I take a big gap, and after the third one I make one mistake, but in the cross test and in the last enduro I hit my ribs, and I have a little bit pain, but it's okay. I have like more than 1 minute. Very so proud of today.
The second day of competition in Enduro 3 once again saw Philip set the early pace, building up a 14-second lead over Cervantes. The question was, could the Australian do what he hadn't done before? And that was hold on to the lead, especially from a hard-charging Cervantes, who was still trailing his teammate as they entered service.
Matt is very fast today, and in the first Enduro test I make a small mistake. I lost only 2-3 seconds, and after I push very hard, but It's today I am more slowly than Matt. I waiting for these 2 laps and I do my best for sure, and it's a big fight with my teammate.
In fourth was Matti Saistola, a performance which he needed following a disappointing day 1 for the Finn. In third place this time was Matthias Bellino. The Frenchman couldn't quite match the pace of the 2 who finished ahead of him, his cause not helped by 2 crashes in the second Enduro test. Ivan Cervantes has a habit of getting stronger as each day goes on, but this time that wasn't to be the case. As he tried to push for the lead on the last Enduro test, he sprained his ankle when his foot bent back, having hit the footrest hard. He made his way to the finish to claim second place, but he was clearly in a lot of pain. Even if he hadn't hurt himself, it never looked like Cervantes was going to catch Matthew Phillips. The Australian rode hard and fast all day, trying not to make too many mistakes, his only blemish being a small spill on the third Enduro. The KTM rider would go on to win his first Grand Prix at this level. Victory then for Phillips, with Cervantes in second place and Bellino in third.
Today the race was who made the most mistakes, and yeah, I tried to stay calm and managed to take the win today. So yeah, the team worked really well, and once again a big fight with my teammate Ivan, and a really tough day physically and mentally as well. So it was good.
This is how the championship stands, and it's Cervantes who is still leading the way. High drama in the early stages of Enduro 1, with Christophe Nambertan trailing Iro Ramez as they went into service.
Now, bad start in the Enduro test, I make a big mistake. And again, I continue so much mistake. Now I think I am third. 2 laps again, and I push for to win, to try to win.
In fourth at the end of play was Jeremy Theroux. Another good performance from another Frenchman and another Sherco rider. In third place was Cristobal Guerrero. The Spaniard looked strong through both the extreme and cross tests, but appeared to find the Enduro test tough. He rode with confidence this time, despite a crash in the second cross test and the last Enduro test of the day. The unbeaten run in Enduro 1 came to an end for Nambertan. No matter how much effort he put in, he couldn't bridge the gap between first and second. And he eventually came home in the runner-up spot. Victory would go to Iro Ramez. It was the Finnish rider's first win on a 254 stroke, and a day which provided what looked like a perfect ride on the TM. The only blip coming on the last Enduro test when he had to remove a stick which had got jammed in his bike. A result which helped alleviate the previous day's pain. So victory for Ramez, Nambertan in second this time, and Guerrero third.
Today I started riding quite okay in the morning, and no crash and some small mistakes, but also other riders make some mistakes, and today was, I feel more better, for sure more better than yesterday.
Nambertan still with a more than comfortable lead at the top of the standings, but Ramez has proven the Frenchman can be beaten. Finally, onto Enduro 2, which again provided plenty of drama. It was the gang of four who were the centre of attention once more. In the early stages, Alex Salvini and Antoine Mio were separated by tenths of seconds, with Johnny Aubert in third and Pelle Rene just off the pace of the top three going into service.
Victory yesterday, but today for the moment fourth place. but we are just half day, so the day is not finished and it will be long.
A pattern is emerging as far as Jonathan Barragan's concerned. The former world motocross rider always takes it steady on day one, then it's full attack on day two, and Greece was no different to the previous rounds. No crashes for Johnny Aubert, but he wasn't too pleased with some of the mistakes he'd made during the day. On a dusty terrain, he admitted he'd found the last lap tough going, but his efforts were rewarded when he ended the day third. Pelle Rene seemed to find things tougher on day two than the previous 24 hours, but like Aubert, didn't come off his bike once. He would go on to take second position. The big battle of the day had been between Alex Salvini, who now looked to be back to his best, and Antoine Mio. It was the Italian who was leading with just a couple of tests to go, but the Honda man suffered a huge off, which brought his Grand Prix to a premature end. With the Italian out of the reckoning, Mio was left to ride on to victory and another haul of championship points.
Sure, it was very important to win again. I was scared and it was possible to keep more points, but in the end Salvini crashed and René make second position, so we leave same than when we come. Anyway, it's a good day. I'm very happy. The team working very hard behind me yesterday, so thank you a lot for us, and I hope so to win next race.
As for Salvini, he was left to rue more bad luck and a suspected broken collarbone.
I was leader until the two tests to go, and I went down pretty hard and probably I broke my collarbone. And hopefully nothing is it's gonna be so bad, but for sure there is something, because I have so pain and I couldn't move my shoulder, and I feel so pain in my collarbone. Now I go to the hospital and we will see. Hopefully get back on the bike soon, but we will see.
So Mio once again takes the victory, with René in second and Aubert in third, ahead of Barragan. So this is how Enduro 2 is looking, and despite the closest of the top four on the tests, it's Mio who has the edge in the championship standings. With that, we say a fond farewell to Greece, with the championships off to Finland next time.